G'day and welcome to the program. My name's Andy Semple. Today's option strategy that I'd like to talk to you about is called the bull price spread with calls. So what is it? It's a strategy requiring the simultaneous purchase and selling of call options in the same class with different exercise prices. The options expiry, however, can be different. Now let's have a look at a payoff diagram of the particular strategy. Notice the $8.50 strike. It's worth about 30 cents. So what we do here is we buy that particular call option and we pay 30 cents. We then go and sell the $9 call for which we receive 15 cents. So we've paid 30 out, received 15 in, so our net cost is 15 cents debit. Now the maximum profit we can make from this particular strategy is 35 cents. How do we come to that price? Well, the difference in strikes. $9 less $8.50 equals 50 cents. It costs 15 cents to get into the position, hence the maximum profit we can make from it is 35. The maximum risk, of course, is the 15 cent debit. So let's have a look at a practical example of employing this particular strategy. You'll see here the BHP daily bar chart as of the 17th of February 2010. Notice on the chart you can see that the 50-day moving average has been creeping up and it's now just touching the stock price of BHP, which could be a prelude to BHP moving higher in price. So rather than just buy a call outright, we'd rather hedge ourselves a bit by doing the particular bull price spread. So let's now have a look at a practical example now. BHP's trading at $41.34. So in this instance, we go and buy the BHP June 10 $42 call option, and that costs around about $2.34. We then simultaneously sell the BHP June 10 $44 call, and we receive $1.49. So our pay or risk is 85 cents debit. Now the maximum profit from this particular strategy, again, is the difference in the spread minus the cost of the spread. So again, a $42 call was purchased, a $44 call was sold, so the maximum spread difference there is $2. The spread, however, cost 85 cents, so therefore at the end of expiry, if this is in the money, the maximum profit we can make is $1.15. For those of you who are wanting to know the leverage of that particular position, it's equivalent at the time of employing the strategy equal to about 115 BHP shares. Now let's have a look at another particular example. This time we're introducing the calendar aspect to the strategy. Notice in this particular example, we've bought instead the December 2010 $42 call. So instead of the June, we bought December. So we've bought a call option with more time. However, we've sold, in this instance, the June 10 $45 call. Now, we bought the call for $4.24, sold the call for $1.33, so our pay or risk is $2.91. Now, the same basis applies to make your profit. It's the difference in the spread minus the cost of the spread. But what you need to be mindful about if you do a calendar version is the fact that you've bought a longer dated call option and you've sold a shorter dated call option against it. Ideally, you'd like to get to June and have BHP be just in or out of the money, resell the call option maybe in October or even December at a higher strike, and therefore increasing the spread. Think of it as sort of like doing covered calls, except you're using a longer dated call option to do that process. The only risk to be mindful with a calendar spread, of course, is if the underlying stock, in this case BHP, were to skyrocket in price and put the particular spread in the money very quickly. Now, let's have a look at why you would look at the bull calendar price spread compared to, say, a protected buy right. Now, quickly, what is the protected buy right? That's when the investor would purchase the underlying share, say BHP, but then sell an out-of-the-money call option to fund the purchase of a put option. Now, if you go back to that payoff diagram is identical to the protected buy right. Now, the spread is significantly cheaper to employ than the protected buy right. Again, if you had to go buy 1,000 BHP shares at $41.34, you spent over $41,000. You then have to sell the call, and then you have to buy the put, and you've got 3 transactions to take into account. Whereas if you did the spread, well, using the example I've just given, it's only going to cost $850. So you can see that implementing the spread is significantly cheaper than doing a protected buy right. It also provides a significantly higher level of leverage than a protected buy right. The only way you can get sort of leverage in the protected buy right is obviously if you employ a margin lending product, so you can buy a lot more BHP. But as you know, if you're using margin lending, the most you should ever gear realistically is up to 50% and give yourself a bit of a buffer. But if you even went up to 70% or even higher because you've got the puts, you will still find if you use the options directly, you will get a greater degree of leverage. I suppose the only reason you'd look at the protected by right is if the underlying stock was about to, is come dividend, and that dividend is important to you. But as a strategy, it works quite well if you particularly believe the underlying asset in case of BHP is going to move a bit higher, but rather than buy a call option outright, you sort of hedge your position by selling the out-of-the-money call. Well, that's our option strategy for this month. Until next time, good trading.